Hello everyone and welcome to Friday. This video is actually going to be a reply video for an earlier vlog that we did about 2 weeks ago on declawing. This is going to be an important vlog, but doubly so for anyone who watched that vlog. Also, I've never done this before, but I actually wrote a script. And I don't want this to make me seem less genuine, but instead more articulate, just because there's a lot I have to say, and I want to make sure that I actually say it. Also, please hold your comments until the very end, because there's a good chance that what I say will be covered. Like, if you're going to ask a question, I probably cover it in my little script. Anyway, first off, I will start by saying that we've decided not to declaw the cats. There's a myriad of reasons for this, which will be explained in this video, but I wanted to start with that. This shouldn't come as a surprise. Even in our last video, when we said that we were considering it, we didn't say that we had actually made a decision. Since that video, I have done some thinking, some living, and some reading that ultimately pushed me away from declawing Sagan and Kepler. I thought about the idea of keeping the cats whole, and I know that that probably sounds hokey, corny, or stupid, but it's something that I did actually consider. It's the animal as nature intended, and though I don't have a problem with the idea of declawing the animal since they're being taken out of their natural environment and placed in a home, it was still a nice thought. This was also going to be a very expensive procedure. We go to a rather expensive vet, and it was going to cost us almost $500 to declaw both kittens. As any vlog regular will know, I was actually in the process of ordering parts for a new computer, which wasn't the cheapest thing in the world. I would never deny the cat's healthcare for monetary reasons, but declawing wasn't a need. And actually, I should also point out here that it is becoming less of a need. The kittens are approaching 5 months now, and while they still play often, I notice I'm playing less and not as hard as they did a few weeks ago. Maybe it's wishful thinking that they're starting to mellow out, but it seems that the infection that Kepler got from Sagan scratching him was probably a rare occurrence, and not a common thing, despite what professionals would have me believe. The biggest deterrent of all from declawing the cats was watching them. We've got 2 stools in the house that have fabric seats, and the cats love to climb on them. Even though they're not strong enough to jump all the way to the top, they can pull themselves up with just their front 2 feet. They're incredibly powerful. I know they'll get stronger and be able to jump up there eventually without the need of their claws, but they're fascinating to watch. The cats also spend a fair amount of time in my lap on a daily basis. Yes, they are crazy, but when they slow down and they lie on my lap for an hour or 2 at a time, I always play with their paws. I push on their fingers and watch their little claws come out. It was very bittersweet to think about losing them and preventing them from being able to climb. They obviously loved the stools after all. A few days ago, I came to the conclusion that we probably shouldn't declaw the cats, and that we probably wouldn't declaw the cats, just because of all the moments that I had been having with them in the day, watching them climb and playing with their paws while they slept. However, there was one more reason that pushed me over the edge. It's also the reason that this vlog even exists. In my declawing vlog, I said that many of you were misinformed. I was correct, as many of you were under the impression and assumption that there was only one way to declaw a cat, using the guillotine method. However, I started to read comments on that vlog and do my own research instead of taking what the vet told me at face value, and it turns out that I was misinformed too. I explained in my vlog that if we chose to declaw the cats, that we would do it with the scalpel method, where they remove the cat's claws manually instead of hacking them off at the knuckle. I echoed what the vet had told me, that they take only what they need from the cat. That part is actually 100% true. Unfortunately, they need the end of the finger, and they have to cut off the bone to do it. To be completely fair, it looks better on paper than the other method, surgically removing only what they need instead of hacking off the cat's fingers. But these methods, including the laser method, all result in the same thing. The cat loses the ends of their fingertips. The reason I'm drawing so much attention to this is that I spread misinformation in my last video, which is something I've always tried to avoid. You have to understand that I'm not trying to lie to any of you. I'm simply going off what I'm told. You'd think that information you get from a source like an animal doctor would be reputable, but not necessarily. I apologize for not researching it myself before making the video. So, learning that the scalpel method was essentially the same thing as the guillotine method, I'd be a hypocrite to move forward with it. It also really bothered me, since taking the ends of the fingers off was what I was trying to avoid. I was already leaning towards not declawing the animals, so that was the final nail in the coffin. Kepler and Sagan will keep their claws, and we will do our best to train them not to claw things that we don't want them to. However, and this is important, I want you to understand that the purpose of this video was not to denounce declawing, but instead to let you know that I misinformed you earlier. You can and should still make your own informed decisions. I know that declawing is banned in many countries, but it's not banned here in the States. I fully believe that cats can have full, healthy lives being declawed, and I know of many cats that have. First and foremost, cats should have homes. If declawing would allow you to keep your cat or prevent euthanasia, then I fully support it. There is research showing that declawed cats develop behavior problems, and that might be true. I can only speak from my own experiences though, and I've never seen it happen. I would fully advise you to look at the research and decide yourself. I know that probably didn't make the anti-declawing people very happy, but I have to call it like I see it. We ultimately chose not to declaw, but you might. And if you live in the States, then you have a right to make that decision. There might come a day when declawing is illegal here as well, and maybe declawing is animal cruelty. I am not an animal specialist, and I am not in a position to make that decision. I can only let you know what I've learned and sincerely thank many of the YouTube commenters for helping me better understand. However, as one last note, let me elaborate a bit on that. Some of the commenters were very helpful. Some of them, however, were not. They were rude, vile, and downright disgusting with what they wrote, and I did not appreciate it. If you want someone to take your cause seriously, then be mature about it. It might be illegal in your country, but it's not illegal here. You need to inform people, not berate them. Do you really think I'm going to change my mind about something if you leave nasty comments telling me how terrible I am? I was misinformed, and I misinformed others, and for that, I apologize. That does not give you the right to tear me down, and it sure doesn't help your cause. Please bear in mind that this applies to only a very few select individuals, and that most commenters were helpful and understood I had been given false information. Many explained calmly what I had not been told, and a few even recommended some authors on animal behaviorists. We actually picked up a book by one of those authors, so thank you for the recommendation. To recap, this vlog exists to fix what I said earlier. It wasn't true, and I didn't know that. Now that I know, I thank you for informing me, and I'm informing you. I don't denounce declawing, it's not illegal here, but I want you to be aware of what it entails, and I urge you to always research these things for yourself and never take what your vet says at face value. I'll be marking the earlier video as unlisted, because I don't want people to stumble upon it and be further misinformed. For those who are taking the journey and missed it, you can find the link below. It's fine to watch within the context of this vlog. I'd like to say a final thank you for those that informed me that I was wrong and urged me not to declaw the cats. YouTube is an amazing place where both viewers and creators can grow as people. It is much more than a place for entertainment. Thanks, and let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?